Sean, I miss Jan so much too.
Is it rude if I start talking now? He was mid-sentence and then he just trailed off.
All right, hey, we're going to YouTube. We're starting in
How you make
5,
paranoid.
4, 3. It's not Tuesday. Welcome to Bombcast Revengeance 814 for Thursday, November 9th, 2023. I'm your bad host, Jeff Grubb.
Oh.
We're gonna get through this together, everybody. Jan Ochoa is out, but we're still gonna do Bombcast Revengeance because we got a lot to talk about. I've assembled a crew of experts here, whether they're experts in fridges or handheld computers. It's for you to decide. That includes Mr. Dan Reichert. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, playing all the newest, hottest, greatest games on my Steam Deck OLED here.
Look at that.
Just look at the colors on that. Look how bright it is.
Ooh, that's vibrant, is what I would say. Is that which one was that exactly? Which game is that specifically?
That's No Mercy.
Oh, okay, very good.
Yeah. Stone Cold's fighting Xbox right now. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that looks nice. Timur Hussein is here.
Yes.
Tam, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. My Steam Deck is behind me. Very, very excited to talk about it. And the OLED screen that has been rocking my socks lately.
Yes, it's good stuff. And then Jeff Bacalar, how's your Steam Deck OLED?
It's doing really well. I'm assuming it's just, out there somewhere, perhaps in production, or maybe not even a figment of anyone's imagination yet. But we'll see. I do need a new fridge, though, because mine has decided to start leaking into the ice maker. The ice maker is leaking, and I'm getting cubes that are stuck together. So if we have a fridge expert in the house...
What brand of fridge do you have?
The question is, do you need a new fridge, or are you doing boy math and being like, well, I have to get rid of this entire thing and replace it with a brand new one when it's like a little fix?
If something breaks...
Yeah,
you can't fix it.
No, you can buy another.
Yeah, it's 2023.
I once moved because I broke a window in a house.
That's boy logic.
You have to get the whole thing replaced. If I was Grubb and my water heater broke, I would have moved.
I replaced it myself.
Yep.
I like you guys yesterday. I didn't want to explain that. You guys are like, oh, what are you going to do with all that extra money? It's like, no, I did it because I don't have $2,000.
That is why. That is why. If I ever break a limb, I amputate it immediately.
Yeah,
get rid of it.
No time to
see, I don't have a tooth up here is because I didn't have money to get. They could have fixed the tooth, but it was going to cost like $300 more. And I was like, just take it out. I don't need it. And they told me, they're like, hey, you're probably going to want to, as you get older, have a tooth there. It's going to fuck up your jaw and all sorts of stuff. And I was like, $300. I don't have that. And so now that's why I have to get my whole fucking jaw fixed and stuff. So
has the science improved on replacing that tooth now? Because I know for a while there was like, no, we just actually can't put a tooth there anymore.
In 6 to 9 months, when my bite is aligned, I can get a tooth put in there. But I'm doing that.
Please get a gold tooth.
Oh no! Like
would that be funny?
A chrome one.
Yeah,
chrome one would be amazing.
Yeah,
would it be funny?
Well, that's not a.
Can you get replacement teeth that are also like Bluetooth enabled?
See,
so like
I was literally just sitting there waiting for an opportunity to make a Bluetooth joke, and I don't even know if it's funny, Tam, but I'm glad that we're on the same page.
But like, if you could have like a wireless transmitter in your tooth,
why
just walk around being
why
like a walking hotspot?
Oh, yeah, bone conducting music and stuff. Yeah, it goes right to your brain.
What's the stupidest thing you could put in there? Like instead of like cyanide capsules or like the horrible ones. That's what I'm saying. Like that concept, but a stupid funny thing.
A little speaker. A little speaker that is only able to play one sound.
Yeah,
you can put a Raspberry Pi up
Mariah
in there.
Carey's Christmas song.
Raspberry Pi is
a
good.
Raspberry Pi that only plays Mariah Carey's Christmas.
No, I can play Doom in my tooth.
With
my tooth. Yeah.
No, every time you like take a bite is the Taco Bell bong.
That would get very annoying. It's like water torture. That's just not going to work. That sounds terrible.
Think how many times you chew in a day. That would be rough.
My Xbox made that sound every time I turned it on, so I already heard that too much.
Oh, did you turn that off, or did you, or was that even
I don't know
an option?
if you can. My Xbox One X was the Taco Bell one, so like every fucking time you turn it on, dong dong.
I'm sure you could get in there and fucking
amazing.
break the little speaker.
I don't want to change it.
Yeah,
No.
So yeah, Steam Deck OLED. You guys want to just hop into it? Are we ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, I want to hit the button then. Let's see. Oh, make it loud for you guys.
I hear it. It's happening, baby.
I think the most important thing to start with here is something I've had to think of 8 million times in the last 2 weeks, is bevel or bezel?
Bezel. Yes,
Bezel.
you guys both said bevel. Like you interchanged a little bit. By the time you did the short, though, you said bezel, and I'm really glad because if you had said bevel on that, Turbo Sean would have fucking died when he was editing that. He would have lost his mind at you guys. So I
remember looking it up before I shot the TikTok thing, but when we were in Seattle, I was just talking. What's that?
Sean's in chat already, all caps. Bezel.
It's always been a bezel.
You would have killed him.
Bezel.
Yeah.
Bezel. Okay. But yeah, that bezel is smaller this time, so you see more of the screen. It's we talked in the video a little bit about I wonder if it's going to be a smaller form factor and stuff like that. It's not, but the size of components has changed in a way where it's like, okay, the screen is actually bigger, and the battery is actually bigger because of the OLED technology, it wasn't taking up as much space with the screen.
That's right. The OLED was skinnier. The screen is skinnier because it doesn't need backlights because it has its own light emitting diodes. That's what they are, and so yeah, they could fit more battery in there, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. So like looking at it outside of like, the red power button, there's not a lot of things just looking at a turned off Steam Deck LCD and an OLED that you could tell right away, like in a police lineup. But inside there are things that are shifted around in different sizes for sure.
So I got it, and you had seen it by the time I got it, and you were saying OLED screen, yeah, but lots of other cool stuff there. But let's start with the screen though, and then we'll get into all those little things. It really is impressive. I think that the screen that they have here it's the best OLED screen I've seen in a handheld gaming device for sure. Mm-hmm. Better than the Switch, which is a really good screen. Not to like put down the Switch, but it's better than what the Switch has.
Take that Switch.
Yeah, get in your place. And then I think it's better than like my phone's HDR OLED screen, and those things, that's $1,000, and these things are getting up there in price, but I think that's pretty impressive that they're playing in that field. A big part of that is they seem to be obsessive about the color accuracy and making sure that they hit that 1000 nits of HDR brightness, which is what you need to get to have really good HDR, and you got it, and it's impressive. And we go like that battery, because the battery life is so much better. I don't mind using it on full HDR brightness. It's really impressive.
Trust me, when I was at Valve and like the display experts were going into the nitty gritty and showing me like spectrograms and stuff and saying nits and stuff a lot, it's a lot of me going into the like, yeah mode. It's like, yeah. I know these words that you're saying, but I can tell with my eyes it does look a lot better.
Exactly. Real world testing is the thing I've just been doing. I'm not sitting there trying to do anything scientific. I'm just like, I've used the Steam Deck a lot. I've used the Roger Ally a lot. Now I'm using this a lot, and this one, it just feels really good. It looks really good, and a lot of the anxiousness I would have about the battery, running out too fast. Most of that stuff's gone. And then I was okay with the original Steam Deck screen. I thought it looked pretty good. I know a lot of people don't. There's a lot of people like, hey, I'm going to replace the screen myself, and I'm going to try to mess around with the vibrancy settings, and Valve released an update so that people could do that themselves. I was just like, well, whatever. But seeing the difference, it's like, wow, it really is night and day. This is a much better screen.
Yeah, I feel like it is. I mean, they talk about how impressive it is. They make a big deal of it being the first like HDR enabled like little screen, OLED screen that you can take out and about. And it's when you start playing games that have HDR enabled and seeing it on there, you're like, oh, okay, this is actually a pretty big deal. And in most cases, they say that there doesn't need to be extra work done to games to make them function with HDR on the Steam Deck. I feel like that is true for the most part of what I played, but there were some games that I think require a little bit of finessing a bit more, just like a little bit of performance, noticeable hitches here and there, but nothing close to even like ruining the experience. It feels like a very impressive but seamless upgrade that is enabling more features in a way that you would expect would require way more like fiddling from the user.
But it's
you mentioned seamless.
Yeah,
seamless. I took the micro SD out of my LCD Steam Deck and put it in, and it just worked.
Everything
right
just came
away.
over.
no weirdness at all.
Like now I have 2 terabytes of storage in this thing now, because then they have a 1 terabyte model. That's what they sent me.
Yeah,
I think that's what they sent you guys as well already. The 1 terabyte model. And so now I put in 1 terabyte SD card, and it's great. And of course, the SD card is actually still pretty fast to load stuff. But the 1 terabyte SSD built in, very fast.
Also, we should probably. I mean, it's obvious and like it's makes a lot of sense, but we should probably just clarify that we were sent these Steam Decks by Valve ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So do with that what you will. Our impressions are based on them providing us the hardware, which we're appreciative of.
Yep.
Honestly, one of my favorites. Like, there's a lot of like little tiny things that add up to this being a bigger upgrade than something like the Switch OLED. One that I think will make a serious difference for me as I travel, because like it's a great plain platform for sure. But like this case, this outer case is the same size as
and
it
comes with a device. This comes with a device.
This new case comes with the 1 terabyte versions. Yes. Not the lower ones. But the outer case is still super bulky and everything. But for the audio listeners, there's a Velcro thing here that actually I don't think you have to even unzip it. You just
there's an inner zipper.
Yeah, so there's like an inner sleeve that you can take out that is significantly skinnier. So if you're just like trying to pack light or just do like a 1 bag situation or something, it makes it a ton easier. So that's one of the upgrades I really like a lot.
I saw in chat Turbo Sean saying, "What is this screen people keep talking about? I can't find it anywhere, and you can't hot swap Steam Deck LCD and OLED parts." So I spoke to Lawrence Yang, one of the key people behind this, the other day, and asked him like, what is the deal with this screen? And apparently it's one of the reasons that they couldn't have it in the original model is like they had to work with manufacturers to get this screen made. I asked him like, who did you work with? And he was like, we're not quite ready to talk about that yet. And he also indicated like there's a bunch of manufacturers that they work with. You can, once you have an OLED, you can go in there and see where your panel came from. But it's not something that he said at the time when they made the first Steam Deck, the original version, they wanted to do this. Everyone that they worked with was basically like, we've got these tablet panels, you can put that in there. And that was not what they wanted. They needed something more bespoke. So the process of, according to Lawrence, like getting this first Steam Deck out there, like proving it to be a success, and then that helped them leverage that kind of experience and the market share to go back and be like, we need this specific screen. So it's not something that you'll be able to easily find, I imagine. But Valve also has kind of a good history of just making parts available for repairs.
They're getting better at that all the time, too.
Yeah, a screen seems like an expensive proposition and a tricky one from like manufacturing to getting it available in to consumers in an easy way. But it's not beyond the realm of possibility for them to be like, hey, if you want to replace your screen, here it is. But I feel like it's on paper feasible to do it with the LCD one because the power is not all that different. But then you have to factor in like the battery size is an issue because the smaller screen means bigger battery and vice versa could be a problem.
Yeah, so I don't know which one people were sourcing before this was announced. People were trying to put in their own screen. I don't know if it was an OLED screen or if it was just a better LCD screen. No clue. But I mean, the reality here now is that this is available and this is probably your best option. Now, I know some people already have their Steam Decks. They might be hesitant about upgrading. We could talk about that maybe here at the end where we're like, hey, is it worth upgrading if you already have one? So we'll keep that in mind as we're going through all these questions and stuff. But like to kind of touch back on the HDR real quick, HDR on Windows is bad. It's real bad.
Yeah,
it
sucks. It's broken.
Yes, it's broken. There was a hotkey thing where I'm like, oh, this is great. I'll do this hotkey every time I'm about to start an HDR game. Turns HDR back on and everything. And it's still bad, but it'll be less of a headache. And it's like, nope, that hotkey just stopped working. Windows is like, no, that's not going to work anymore. HDR, what are you talking about?
And then when you have multiple monitors, it just makes it just unbelievably.
Obviously, we're a very specific case as well, where we're doing a lot of video work, and we can't have HDR signals getting mixed in with SDR signals, whatever. But HDR in general on Windows is bad. This isn't Windows. This is SteamOS. It's Linux. But it's their version of Linux, SteamOS, that they baked in such a way to make it just work. And so far, when I'm booting up a game, it either automatically boots into HDR mode, or it automatically boots into a mode where it's like it's ready to have HDR turned on inside the game. That's going to be a game-by-game situation. But all you got to do is flip it on. The screen instantly, it doesn't even like fade to black real quick. It just just goes right into HDR.
Yeah.
And then you can press the little, the 3-dot menu button, the one that has all of your quick menus. And you can see on there on the brightness, it now just says there's an HDR badge up there. It says, hey, you have HDR. It's working. It's great. They do recommend setting the brightness to 85%. So that way, when you get those really bright things, the really bright moments, those can actually go above that 85% brightness. So it just works. And that's been a real relief for me as someone who wants to do more HDR gaming.
And that's something that's gotten better with Steam Deck ever since the original came out, is that, at first there's a lot more fiddling required with stuff. And as time has gone on, there's so many more games that are just like, okay, we're going to launch into that like 1280 by 800. It's just going to work. And now this feels like I think they even described it as like, this is like the ideal first generation Steam Deck.
They said the definitive first gen Steam Deck.
Yeah. It is not the Steam Deck 2 or anything like that. They're not marketing it as such, but like there is enough there to where I do think that like it might be worth an upgrade. I think about all those little things like the first one, Bluetooth. I play with my AirPods on the plane, and if I have to go to the bathroom or something and I got to just put it in sleep mode for a second, it's not a huge deal, but I would have to go into the settings, into Bluetooth, reconnect my AirPods every single time. And now the new Bluetooth driver on this, it just connects. It's totally fine. I've tested that. Little perks like it running cooler and quieter, things like that. Like it's not just lip service. I've spent a couple weeks with it now, and it really is. And the battery life thing on the way out there, I was playing Dave the Diver, and I had to do like a pit stop during my layover and like charge. I just played for like 2 hours of Dave the Diver, and I had to recharge it and then go on the next leg. With the battery life, I probably could have just gone the whole way and not had to charge.
It is a little crazy to sit here almost 2 years after the release of the original Steam Deck and be like, well, finally, the definitive Steam Deck has arrived.
I think I agree with you. Like it's like, then what have we been using? But I think the original Steam Deck wasn't just a proof of concept. It was better than that. But it definitely felt like them proving to themselves that they could do this, and then people would care. And I think even they were a little surprised that people cared enough that they're like, oh, had we known this thing was going to sell like this, had we known developers were going to get on board the way that they have, we would have done this and this and that. And now this has all those extra things in there. Now, if you are someone who's already bought one and you're feeling burned, I don't blame you. You got to maybe. Go ahead.
I was gonna say like, I can understand why you might feel burned, but I would definitely have some element of it. But having played it, like this is gonna sound like I'm talking shit, but like it doesn't at all diminish what the Steam Deck is. Like, sure, the screen is like not as amazing, but in terms of innards and power, it's the exact same thing. Yeah. And yes, the battery life isn't as good, but the fundamental experience that you're having with a Steam Deck is the same. And for a lot of people, I feel like that is the kind of like, now that's the cheaper entry point. And I feel like that's important to kind of not like cast aside. And because I know we have like a tendency to be like, new thing is better than old thing, thus old thing must be thrown into sun. But like, no, this thing is one of those ones where it's like, it's the new one is a good to have if you're about to buy one for the first time, amazing. But I would have no issue having experienced them both. I would have no issue just carrying on with my current Steam Deck because it is still very, very nice.
And they also promised that a lot of the software updates that they're learning to do, because they're putting so much work into this, they're going to bring as many of those to the original Steam Deck as possible, the Steam Deck LCD as possible.
Grub, you said something about like, them testing the waters with the first one, and I could kind of understand that too, because you look at their history with hardware. It was between like the Steam Link, the Steam controller, things that are like, oh wow, Steam machines. That was getting into hardware. Steam machines, that's the thing. Like none of that stuff took off. And so I think when this got announced, it's like, all right, that sounds great in theory, but let's see. And I feel like this was the first piece of hardware from them where people were like, oh, wait, this actually like this kicks ass.
And
like,
the reality is like
universally,
it's a PC, but they're treating it like a console. And this is something I talked to Lawrence Ying about as well. And they're like, we really like that it's both. We really like that it's open and you could do whatever you want with it. But then we can make the experience as simple as possible. And it started not quite there. It got there pretty quickly with updates, and now they're so far beyond that it's like, oh, they're making improvements to this thing that just improve the quality of life so much that it's really noticeable. And it's like, oh man, this is almost the ideal consoleized experience that I want when I'm picking up a device, and it's for a PC. Let's finish up on the screen. It's not just HDR. It's not just 1000 nits. It's not just OLED. It's also 90 hertz. And there's some benefits there. For one, you can run games at 90 frames per second. Some games that would be fine with the improved battery life. that's actually possible and reasonable for some things. But also you can run games like I usually do at 45 frames per second. And there's this one slider now. You move it down to 45 frames per second, and it will run the games at 45 frames per second and then double the frames like they do for the VR devices to 90 hertz. So it actually smooths it out even more. And then there's another option, go down to 30 frames per second and use frame tripling to not get back to 90 hertz. And it makes 30 frames per second look way smoother than it's ever really looked for me. And I'm like, oh, this is actually really impressive stuff. So a lot of options to save battery and still get a really nice image quality.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll get to some other stuff, but so far, Backlar, do you have any questions? I have some questions from people on Twitter. Maybe we get some questions from chat if we need to. But anything that comes to mind that you want to ask about, Backlar?
I think for me, I was curious more about it sounds like I already know the answer to this question, but I always found the touchpad squares that flank the screen to just sort of be a little pointless in a lot of ways. And
you're completely wrong about that, but I understand why you say that.
Right? I find myself using them by accident more than deliberately. Maybe you could change my opinion on their usefulness. But
they did improve the haptics on there, right? Is that what you're going to mention, Dan?
Yeah, the haptics are better. Well, I was going to say that if you're not doing a lot of Linux and emulator stuff, that's where it really comes in. The ideal way to kind of do that is Bluetooth mouse and keyboard. But if I'm, on a plane or something and I just need to get into Linux and move a file into another folder or whatever, that's when you're using those trackpads. And for those kind of short use, cases, it's fine for that.
It's not just a mouse though. You can use the Steam. So Steam is great because of Steam controller input. And they basically can make these thumb pads do anything. And you could turn them into radial menus for any game. You could turn them into radial menus for any emulator so that you don't have to bring up a keyboard on your virtual screen and hit this and do Alt F4 whatever to get out of a thing. You could just set that to a radial menu input. And because it's Steam, it's universal for all these games. And not just that, you don't have to do it yourself. The community is doing these things, and you could just download the profile and apply it to a game, apply it to emulators, and it just works. It's cool. It's magic stuff. But the haptics are better, and that's noticeable as well. It's all a million tiny little things like that are noticeable once you start using it.
I've also used those things for games that are point-and-click adventure games, for example, that are in early access that haven't reached a point yet where they're optimized for Steam, and that's been super helpful for me as well. I don't use them a lot, but there have been moments where I've been I can just use mouse inputs here. Great, fantastic, and it does feel a little better now.
Yes, exactly.
I tried it with Command and Conquer Red Alert Remastered, and you can do the mouse input with that just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I'm going to see if I can get some of these questions in the meantime. I don't know. Any other big things about the Steam Deck you guys want to mention before we get to some of these?
The one thing I will mention is they on paper, I believe the change in weight is is it 30 grams or something like that? It's
they say it's 5. I'd have to look at the press kit on that.
5% lighter.
I have 20 to 30%, 30 to 50% longer battery life, and then was it 5 to 20?
It loses on paper. If you can look at the exact number on paper, it doesn't look like a massive drop in the weight. But when you play it and hold it, I feel like it feels lighter, and over time you get less of that fatigue that you often get with the original Steam Deck. So I feel like the weight is a pretty good change, and an important one for me as someone who likes to do long sessions.
On the video we did, the YouTube video we did with it, we did the blind test where it's I put on a sleep mask and had Jan hand me both of them, and it was immediately noticeable. The press kit says 30 to 50% longer battery life. It does just say lighter. I wonder if
it's okay. You know what though?
Here we go. Yeah, reduction of 5%. 5%. It's at 640 grams down from 669 grams.
69.
And that right. Tim, you started by saying that doesn't sound like a lot. You notice it. You notice it.
Yeah, you feel it, especially in those longer sessions. There's I feel like the weight, the slight weight change also makes it feel more ergonomically better. I realized that because I was playing the ROG Ally, and the ROG Ally is a less it's more of a sharp design, if you know what I mean. But felt like I play it for way longer because it's lighter and I can hold it for much longer. And now that this is lighter, I feel like I'm able to play it for much longer
I
as
think
well. It
it's in
feels
the comfort
overall
zone now.
better in my hand. Yeah,
Yes.
it's in the comfort zone now. Even though like physically it hasn't changed too much.
I always liked the shape of the Steam Deck. It really just was. There's something about the weight or the weight balance that made it slightly more fatiguing than I was expecting. And now I think that this is on the other side of that comfort zone where it's now safely in that green zone where it's like, okay, I can use this for an extended period of time. And I am, again, because of the battery life. All right. There's some questions here. How are the temperatures holding it after hours of prolonged use? They really want to compare it to the Switch OLED, but I think for me, I've noticed that it's much cooler overall.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't tell if it's cooler overall or if the heat is distributed in a way where it's less noticeable.
Well, it is. So they were using a 7 nanometer die for the original Steam Deck, and now this uses a 6 nanometer. So if they're and because they're keeping it on the exact same performance profile, just physics means they would be producing less heat to get to the same performance with a shrunk down die. Yeah. So I think it's actually producing less heat.
Improved thermal performance due to larger fan. Because they got more space for a fan.
Larger fan
also,
as well.
I don't know about you guys, but like the fan doesn't sound as aggressive to me. Maybe
it's because
I haven't like played a game that forces it to kick into super high gear. But I remember when I played the original, it was like, man, this is loud. I need to put headphones in because it's drowning out the audio coming out of this. But now I'm just like, oh, this is much quieter.
So I had the Steam Deck that they originally sent me for a review, and that one apparently had a different fan than what went out to all the customers. And so mine's always been relatively quiet. And yet this one is noticeably more quiet. Now, that one of the best parts of the video, Dan, that you and Jan put together was that moment where he had the shotgun mic pointed at each one, and you could hear the difference. It was immediately noticeable how much quieter the new OLED was.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Would you guys? Okay. So, if you do have a ROG Ally, TAM,
ROG Ally, yeah.
You still gonna go back and play that because it's more powerful, or what?
I don't know. I feel like I haven't had them long enough to really define. The thing about it is Steam is so good, man. Like now it's like sometimes I'll be like, I use my ROG Ally as my like in bed device where I'll keep it by my bedside, whereas the Steam Deck goes like with me. And because of like the way that cloud save works, it's so easy to move back and forth between them. I do come back to the ROG Ally's power is like still a bit of a advantage, but I usually only use it when I know that power is going to actually help.
Yeah, same.
Like Baldur's Gate 3 runs a bit better on the ROG Ally. The problem with the ROG Ally is the armory crate thing is just annoying. I hate that it boots up.
It's bad software.
Yeah, it's bad software. Whereas the Steam Deck has got like super nice, super easy to use and like aesthetically pleasing software. So if it's a game that really won't benefit from a little bump in power, I'll just default to the Steam Deck because it is lighter and it feels like existing in that ecosystem is more intuitive on the Steam Deck than it is on the ROG Ally, even though you can do it there.
Crooked View in chat says, have you tried Bluetooth headphones at all? Yep. And does it still have the bad audio delay? Now, they always had aptX, which means if you would have had a certain kind of wireless headphones, you could get low latency Bluetooth. But the chances are, like the fact that if you were not going in the settings and making sure that everything was working right, you're probably getting just that basic level Bluetooth, which does have really bad audio delay. But the good news is they got a new Bluetooth radio in here, 5.2. That will probably help a little bit with 5.3. Thank you.
Yeah.
That'll probably help with Bluetooth audio a little bit. What that's really going to help with, though, is if you want to dock this thing to your TV and have maybe up to 8 controllers connected, it might be able to support that. And it's definitely going to be better than the original Steam Deck.
They said it will support multiple controllers and it will do it better without the crosstalk that the previous Steam Deck
exactly.
Had. Oh yeah, I noticed that was a thing.
I think there's a test we're going to need to do because Grub, you've got that bullshit thing you say about how you can wake up your Switch with by shaking your controller.
Oh, no, that's real. That's real.
There's no way that's real. It says here that it now supports Wake via Bluetooth controller. So the question is, can you turn on your Steam Deck by shaking another controller?
All right, I'll get that connected and we'll see if we can make that happen eventually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder. I'm gonna assume that is the case because that's not like an exclusive to the Switch thing. No, Dan, try and throw it against that closet door mirror. See if that works.
No, I'm gonna break it.
I feel like that's what it is, right? Like that's the wake up gesture for that, like the 8-bit dough thing, right? Like for sure. That's how it wakes up then you connect to the Switch via Bluetooth. I would imagine that's how it works.
Yeah, it seems just to be its wake up signal that would get set. Yes. Let's see. We all have the 1 terabyte, so that means we all have the etched glass, the kind of more reflective glass. I guess I compared that to my original one that's the non-reflective. I think it looks pretty good in most situations I'm gonna be playing it in. It's not gonna be when it's daylight, where there's gonna be a lot of sun kind of beating down on it. But I would imagine with the 1,000 nits, this is probably actually gonna be a better experience outside. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that etched glass on the 1 terabyte?
They did specifically say that they want it to be more playable outside, and with the brightness, I think it definitely is.
I've not played it outside because of embargoes and confidentiality, and they're like, don't play this outside.
Yes, they said that.
I've not done that.
Exactly.
So I can't say for that, but I have played it in a very well lit room, which is the room that I'm in now, and it is definitely not as much of an issue. Like the glare and not being able to properly see stuff it seems fine.
All right, 2 more things. How do you feel about the orange power button? I love it.
Love it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Have you seen the translucent one? The limited edition they're doing?
So that's the last question. Dan, you got to see the translucent one, and you didn't get to take it home though, right?
No. I told him I was a big mark for the Fantastic N64 stuff, and
Tell us a little bit about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I modded my PS5 to I had the like translucent plates and everything. I just love that look. And it's like a limited 1 terabyte that they're putting out. I don't know if they said the specific amount that they're putting out, but there's more orange on that. There's more like vents and things like that where you see the orange poking through.
This thing's sick.
Yeah, they said they actually had to like make it out of a different material because they're like, oh yeah, when you make something translucent, there are factors that you don't think about where it's like, oh god, we're gonna have to do a whole different set of drop tests on this and everything. So they had to do all that just for this limited edition. But it does look sweet.
It originally the translucent stuff they would get back and like, this looks shitty, this looks bad. We got to like keep going at this and see what materials are actually going to work. So
is it more money?
It's a limited edition one, so it's got
like $30 more.
Yeah. And it's like, but it's got a lot of cool like accents on it. The orange power button, they like behind the fans, it's all orange and stuff, and they try to make that all over the place. And it's just
orange is so back in such a big way.
It's big, man. It's big again. Spice orange taking over the world like it should have originally had.
I got a transparent.
Is that orange? I think of it as a red.
Okay, listen, I'm bad at colors.
The button? No, it's an orange.
I think they said it was orange in their video.
No, in the translucent one. When I looked at pictures of it, I was like,
the translucent one. I thought it looked red, but they said it was to match the orange power button. So I think they want it to be orange. And over video, who knows how that's always going to play?
I mean, orange is the color of Valve, isn't it? Like,
yes, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly why they went for it. Yes,
Freeman's,
but the Valve itself is red.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, whoa! Everyone's mind is blown. One of the portals, orange, very clearly.
That's true. That's true.
One of the portals.
Yeah.
Valve has been on the orange train for years.
Okay, so last thing here, I've had Spider-Man Miles Morales on this entire time. I've been trying to keep the screen awake so it's as bright as possible. It's HDR. I have it set to 85% brightness, like they say, and the battery thing, it's just not. It's barely moved. You know what? I started at 80% battery. It's down to 69% battery, and it's just been running. I don't have anything special on it. I think I have it at 45 frames per second. Yeah, it's real nice. That's been the biggest thing for me. It's just I feel more confident using it for longer periods of time.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely quality of life all around, and I feel like I would probably no brainer. If I didn't own an original Steam Deck, I would be buying this one. But, obviously, like I said, more than a dozen things where you're just like, man, all these little parts add up to something greater. That said, performance-wise under the hood, it's not going to really perform better,
correct.
Right?
It's so they want it to be exactly the same as what they said.
Right. So I think at a certain degree, like there is a bit of a ceiling here. And I think that's probably, like I said, for me, the deciding factor about upgrading sort of mid-generation, if you will. How do you guys
I think that's completely fair, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, they describe it as the best version of the original Steam Deck.
Yeah.
And you have an original Steam Deck.
I mean, very much the original
100%.
I don't know. It depends on who you are, because like I remember when Nintendo made that Switch, not the OLED, just the model that had the slightly better battery. Yeah. I did swap it out. I did buy the new one. So it's like I don't know if you're someone that always wants the newest model and newest bells and whistles and stuff, like I would have bought this, you know.
I mean, if I would have spent my own money on this and I would have sold the original Steam Deck on like a Craigslist or something, I would probably feel pretty good about this because I think I did something similar with the Switch, where I had a launch Switch. I think I actually gave that one away, and then I have a Switch OLED, and I'm like, this is just an OLED screen, and the battery was improved, so that improved there as well, and because they did the same thing, they shrunk the die. But it's like those two things, that was enough. I love my Switch OLED, and I use it all the time in handheld mode all the time. This having those same two improvements and a kind of a couple dozen other small things on top of that, it really makes the case. Now, if you are looking at the price, Dan, are you looking at the fact sheet? Do you have the price?
I have it right here. I have the price. Yes. So the Steam Deck LCD, the previous model, the 256 is. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the storage size, but yes, but you got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, the 256 old model LCD is $399 now, so that got a price cut. And then the three models of the OLED, so the 512 is $549. The 1 terabyte is $649, and the limited one is $679. Also 1 terabyte.
They're going to continue selling the LCD models of the other versions until they sell out. So like there's a 512 and there's 256 and the 512, and then also just the SD card one, right? The one that has the eMMC memory. They're going to keep selling two of those until they sell out. And then is it the 256 gigabyte model or the 512 that's sticking around?
256 sticking around.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I've been excited about it. I've been using it a ton. I'm someone who likes these things a lot. But after I got my Ally, even though I don't really like using my Ally because of Windows and because of the software on there, I just kind of like defaulted to that because it was running things better. And now I'm so happy to be back on the Steam Deck because of the experience, and the screen is so good and the battery life's so good. Yeah. So it's just real nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's awesome. There's a bunch of like small things as well that.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I would say like I feel like it's on paper it looks like a bunch of like random bits and pieces that are changed that you're like, it's not that great. But when the experience of how it comes together, you're like, okay, I see why it's worth it. Like even small things like the kind of texture on the thumbstick, like it just like grips a bit better, and it's less like the thumbstick itself feels less
they did improve
severe.
That.
Yeah, my original thumbstick it felt a little sharp on my fingers, if you know what I mean. And this one, it feels just a little more comfortable, so it's good.
Any aesthetic changes too. Underneath the thumbsticks, it's now black instead of kind of that white gray, and also the letters themselves on the face buttons are more of a darker gray than more of that white light gray before. So some little aesthetic changes like that, but it still looks like a Steam Deck.
And I think they said like its height is like 1 millimeter difference than what, but basically what that means is it's such a small difference in terms of form factor that if you have any accessories that you bought for the original Steam Deck, it will just work. And all the ones that have been manufactured and are sitting on shelves, if this is your first Steam Deck, you could just go pick from those and they will all just like snap right on, no problem.
This inspired me to finally buy a dock for it, and obviously it was an old one since this hadn't been announced yet, and it works totally fine.
Yep. I got my dock set up too, and I've been doing the same thing.
Same.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back to inspired by this topic, Dan, you wanted to talk about the best games to play portably, right?
The best portable game of all time. Let's figure it out.
All right, we're going to talk about that right after this.
Hey, we got time for me to run.
All right, we're back, and we've got a topic to discuss. This is what we do on a Bombcast Revengeance, where we talk about games we missed, embargoes we missed, but then we want to have a conversation that might be a little bit longer lasting, because we did just get our Steam Decks, and by us, I mean me, Tam, and Dan. Jeff Baglar, yes, us
we
three.
kicked the non-Steam Deck OLED hardware off.
The cool kids are here. Yeah.
The cool kids are here. Human Shrek has replaced him, and Human Shrek's not going to have much to say. Dan, what are you thinking here? How are we going to approach this?
Let's just talk. We're all adults. We can have a conversation here. We do this with Game of the Year. We've determined many things and categories. This is simple. This is one category. What's the best portable game of all time?
And that's the goal, to define the best portable game of all time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Link's Awakening. Settled. Let's go.
No, one of the weakest Zelda games. All right. So here's another thing about why Link's Awakening isn't the best ever.
You are a nightmare.
Because to me, a portable game to me is synonymous with, like, I want that time travel aspect where it's like, because I think about it on planes all the time, because that's generally where I've played portable games. Or there was a really dark period of my life. It was my first semester of college where I went into classes and sat there, and there were dudes standing at the front trying to teach me things, and it was harrowing. It was just awful. And it was the Game Boy Advance SP that got me through that. So I look at games like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, which like made an hour-long class go by in a blink, or a flight. I think of Cross 3D. I think of a shout out to Lucy, who wanted us to push for Vampire Survivors.
Yes,
games like that can take things that can be a chore, like a flight or school, and you can make it go really fast and make it, dare I say, fun. And so that's, to me, when I think portable games, that's what I think of.
It's cool that you think of that. I think of Link's Awakening. Let's go. It's in it. That's it. All right, we got it.
It's a confusing, not great Zelda game. It's got that shitty olive original Game Boy.
It's not. Oh my God. You had to like figure out one puzzle and you got scared by it. That explains it all now. Okay. You know what? I like your definition there. You're probably right. Like, if we're talking about the fact that it's portable, does make the difference there. I will say though, because of the Steam Deck recently, my definition of like what makes time go by when I'm playing a portable game has changed a little bit. The one that comes to mind first is Elden Ring. Now, I just want to throw it out there, just maybe to get out of the way, but that was a very good portable game, and it really did just eat up time. And I have
It's a battery too. It's a battery. That I think that's a knock against it portably. Play Elden Ring on an airplane. What are you going to fight? I played one boss.
I played 150 hours on my Steam Deck and like maybe like an hour or two on my PC. So I was fine playing most of it on my handheld device.
Yeah, I would like. I don't think like a battery life is a. We're talking about the best game. We're not talking about best hardware impacted by or game impacted by hardware. You're just opening it up to
every game on Steam. You're opening it up to like that's just like that's not a portable game.
I don't think every game on Steam cuts it. Like I don't think most games on Steam cut it next to like a portable version of. Or a portable game on a Game Boy Advance. For me, like I want the question I have is like, what makes the best portable game? Is it like a singular experience that you have that is like amazing and sticks with you, or is it the fact that this game's got a longevity that means that you can come back to it over and over? Because Vampire Survivors is like the forever game, right? Like you can. I wouldn't put it as my favorite, but if I had to say like what's one of my most memorable portable game experiences, I'd say like maybe Metroid Fusion or Peace Walker or something like that. So what's the criteria here,
Well, I would think ones that are benefited by the portable nature. And I think Nintendo has always been good at this.
Like what you're saying.
I guess, yeah. The sun's right there in your hands. Yes. I think it's a game that you can pick up and play for like 5 minutes, or something you could sit down and sink your teeth into for 5 hours. And like, I think Nintendo really got that right, especially during that like DS, 3DS era. There's lots of Animal Crossings, or remember early DS where it was like Sudoku and Brain Age and all these games where like you could pick up, play for like, 5 minutes while you're waiting for a doctor's appointment to start or something, close it, and you're good to go. Play it on a bus ride that's 10 minutes long.
Okay.
Or, yeah.
With that criteria in mind, because you were like, oh, Brain Age, that kind of stuff. No, those are not video games. Those are stealth.
Those are tools. I wouldn't push for those, but like they were examples.
I am submitting for discussion.
2
games. Fire Emblem on Awakening.
Yeah, that's the one I would go to.
Or Advance Wars.
I really like Advance Wars. Both are really good. Yes.
Those are like replayable games.
Yes.
What about WarioWare?
I like WarioWare a whole bunch too. That's yeah.
WarioWare is good, but like it has a limited like I feel like shelf life compared to something like Fire Emblem or Advance Wars to me.
But the thing is, Fire Emblem and Advance Wars, I think I would be hesitant if I was on a bus ride that was going to be like 20 minutes long. I'd be hesitant to start a fight because it's like some of those go long, and sometimes there's cutscenes afterwards and shit. You got to do it in the town and stuff afterwards. Like it's not like WarioWare. I know if I have 5 minutes, I can still get a full experience with WarioWare in there, or Picross.
With Awakening, you just shut the clamshell.
Yeah, Awakening was really fucking good.
Yeah,
and
the
on
clamshell does
Switch,
make a big difference. Yes, because the fact that you can put these things in the sleep mode, it kind of brings a lot of these games, makes them more friendly for portable.
So good to be in the middle of a game and close that clamshell. You're like, I'm locking up this world for myself,
and it picks right back up the second you open it.
Yeah. Fire Emblem. I feel like Fire Emblem Awakening is a fantastic one. Same with like Peace Walker. It's why I love Peace Walker.
I hate that game.
Do you guys ever play Into the Breach?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Into the Breach is a phenomenal one.
Yeah, that's
a really good one.
It's in that realm. It's one that that one is bite-sized levels. It is you can pick it up and play, and at the same time, if you get into like a good run or you get into the zone, it can eat up time and make it melt away. And it's little and easy to understand, but like has a ton of depth.
Yeah,
and so it's like it goes up and down and left and right in terms of filling up a really good portable experience.
Hey, listen, I would like to submit the portable Castlevania games.
Yeah.
Ooh, all 3 DS ones, all 3 GBA ones, they all kick ass. Yes.
Bangers. Like they are some of the best portable gaming that you can have.
They are.
If I had to pick one, I'd say maybe Aria of Sorrow, or maybe Order of Ecclesia is really good too.
Aria of Sorrow is probably right.
Dawn of
Sorrow is the DS one.
The first DS one that had the touchscreen gimmicks.
Yeah. Aria is probably the one that I would go for. Order of Ecclesia is pretty good.
I love Circle of the Moon, but I'm not going to try to push that because I know it's a perversion of mine. So I would go with Aria of Sorrow.
Also, those games are like repackaged and available on Switch now.
Yeah, they're so fucking good.
We could just say the Castlevania collection, Advanced Collection for Switch.
That's cheating.
I don't know. I feel like Aria of Sorrow's Castlevania is a solid entry for.
All right, I'm writing that down.
Yeah,
as a real contender here.
Collecting all those souls, like I've had more fun. I had more fun collecting all those souls than I've ever had collecting any Pokemon in any Pokemon game.
Yeah, for sure.
Kill like a bone archer and take a soul, and then you can throw bones. It's like, oh man,
and the effect of like the little Game Boy Advance effect of this little sprite just popping out of this guy because you hit him and it just like circling the screen.
The soul
zooms
comes
into
in.
you. Man, it's good to be surrounded by other smart people. This is nice.
Yeah. Paintings coming to life and trying to kill you. God damn it. I didn't even have it written down, but you're so right.
What again?
Oh, okay. Here's the short list. I'm putting together a little short list here, like it's a Game of the Year deal. Here's what I have on here right now, and tell me which ones we can just straight up take off. We got Fire Emblem Awakening, Into the Breach, Aria of Sorrow. I love Picross. I love WarioWare, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Dare I say Tetris?
Yeah.
Tetris is good. Yeah, I think Tetris is a good one.
Yeah, I mean, we could at least put it on the short list. Yeah.
And then Vampire Survivors. That's what I have here.
I feel like we should probably have like Lumines on there or something like that. Lumines is a banger.
It is really great and definitely like I would say potentially even the best PSP game, but I don't know if it hangs against these other ones,
Okay, what about Hades?
Fuck.
Hades is a good one.
It's really good.
It's just it's like so strong in so many ways. Now it's not exactly bite-sized, but you could, go in sleep mode and come back, and you're not going to have that hard of a time getting back into it most of the time.
No.
But just having that game up in your face and playing it for long periods of time in your own little world, Hades is real good at that.
Have you played that on the OLED Steam Deck?
I have not, but I downloaded it because you and Jan were telling me to do it and try it out.
It looks good. Yes.
Yeah. We had a side-by-side with the Switch OLED version, and man, both of them look good, but the Switch, the Steam OLED one is, the Steam Deck OLED one is quite nice.
And just runs way better. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the loading times are like snappier, so it's just like such a good experience.
Okay, we got a cut. We got 9 of them here.
I hate to say it, like I hate to be this kind of person, but like the math games, they're not the ones for me. I like them, like the Picross games. like Picross is why it's like I get it.
Picross
like,
3D is real good though.
Picross 3D is like
I understand. I understand.
I looked at my top 100 games of all time list I did, and that is the highest ranked. Oh, no, WarioWare is my number one, and then Picross 3D.
It's just at a certain point, here's the thing. I can play Aria of Sorrow or Fire Emblem for maybe 4 or 5 hours continuous.
Yeah.
After about an hour of Picross, it's homework, and it starts to feel like
I've never been tired of Picross.
Yeah, me neither.
Maybe. I feel like I want a little more game in my game, you know what I'm saying?
I had one in mind, and we started talking about something else. And I completely forgot. It's going to bother me. But we could though. All right, okay. We could. What do we have on there? Okay, let's cut Tetris. We're not going to be basic bitches. Let's just cut Tetris.
Okay, yeah, we understand its importance.
Yes.
Tetris Effect, better version.
Yeah, sure, yeah. And you play that on.
Yes.
You can play it on Switch, but we don't need to put that back on the list. We're good.
Just during this, I started downloading it on my Steam Deck.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Oh man, yeah. It's good on the Switch OLED, so it's gonna be real good on there.
I feel like surely we should have a Pokemon game on here.
Meh.
I mean, it's our list, and I mean, like I like Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I like Yellow, but I wouldn't be like fighting for it to be the best portable games of all time.
Well, Tam, if you're positive on it, and I don't give a shit about Pokemon, Grub, where do you land?
I mean, I enjoy Pokemon fine. I don't need to put it on this list, but we can put it on the short list. We can put Heart Gold on there and then take it off.
Yeah, just for Jan. Otherwise,
good point. To save our boy.
He'll sabotage Extra Life this weekend.
No one can see this doc, but I just typed in Heart Gold, and now I'm hitting backspace. So we did put it on and take it off. So it got the honors. Yeah,
that's what matters.
What about Call of Duty Black Ops for the Nintendo DS?
Hell yeah.
No, the DS Modern Warfare Reflexed. No, that's the Wii one.
Yeah, it's the Wii one.
That's
right. Different,
yeah.
Completely different. Yeah.
We don't have Metroid Fusion on there.
Or Metroid. What about Zero Mission?
Zero Mission.
Zero Mission is fantastic, but there's something about Metroid Fusion that I really like. The whole like survival horror.
I did come back around on Fusion really hard the last time I played it.
So good.
It's really good. It's like it like funnels you where you're supposed to go, and I just don't care anymore. I'm like, that's fine. I expect that now. So when I go in there and play it, it's like, oh no, it's just a really good game. It turns out
that bit when you're like morph balling through like a pipe, and then it freezes, and then like the other version of Samus just like walks, and you're like, please God, don't see me, no,
it's
please.
Like Alien. It's fucking awesome. Yeah,
Fusion is incredible.
It is. Okay, what do we have 10 now, or no? We took Tetris off. We have 9.
Yeah, okay, we need one more. We need one more to make it 10. Okay. That's all I've Ghost Babel.
No, when was the last time we played that? No.
I feel compelled to put a Metal Gear game on here.
Let's do this. Okay, we got 3 of us on here. We got 9 games. Let's go through. Each of us gets to cut one. No questions asked.
Oh, I know. Wait, can I just add this? This is Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars.
It's pretty good, but it's not going to hang.
So good. Okay,
it is really good. The minigame and the stylus are fantastic. Yes.
It's just like a really good way of shrinking down that experience down to a portable level. But fine, you're right. Let's cut.
I'm going to read these 9, and then we will go around the horn, and each of us cuts one, and nobody can say shit. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Picross 3D, WarioWare, the first one. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, Vampire Survivors, Fire Emblem Awakening, Into the Breach, Aria of Sorrow, Hades, and Metroid Fusion. Tam, cut one, and we cannot argue with you.
Say the first.
Dan, send me a link to the doc. I'm gonna put this up on the screen for people.
Let me just here.
I've got a terrible memory. So
me too.
It's leaving immediately.
I'm just gonna Discord it to you, Grub. Okay. Those are the games. Okay. All right, it's across WarioWare, Final Fantasy Tactics, Vampire Survivors, Fire Emblem Awakening, Into the Breach, Aria of Sorrow, Hades, and Metroid Fusion. Tam?
WarioWare. I was going to go Picross, but I left Picross because I know you love Picross.
WarioWare more!
WarioWare is... Okay, well, you...
I can't argue it. It's gone. I took it off.
I'm just saying, like 15 hours into playing that game, you're probably done.
I've been playing WarioWare this entire time, like my entire life.
Yeah,
it's one of the games I put on every device I have.
I probably put 300 hours on the first WarioWare.
Yeah, same.
Okay, Grub, cut one.
Yeah, this is tough because I want all these games. You know what? I do love it, but of the ones if I had to cut one, it would be Metroid Fusion.
Okay.
I love Metroid, and but that's the one I would cut.
Not enough, apparently.
Apparently not enough.
I'm going to cut Fire Emblem because it's a great game, but because of that, like, it's not really one I can get a full session in like 5 minutes. You can shut it. Tam, that was a great point, but I still feel like you'd be cutting something off in the middle where it's like, I'm preferring a portable game that was like, nope, I had a full experience with that, you know?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
All right, then there were 6. The Cross, Tactics Advance, Vampire Survivors, Into the Breach, Aria of Sorrow, and Hades.
All right, we going back around? Is that how we're doing this? Or
should we do one more round of cuts and then we debate the final 3?
Did you put them up on screen, Joe?
I'm doing it right now. Yes, I got it. There we go. Actually, I'll put that behind there.
You just have the 6? I can't see the program.
I just have the 6, yes. I'll cut them as we go.
Let's do another round of cuts and then we'll debate between the last 3 and then we'll have 2 runners up and 1 winner.
I feel like this is...
This is the science.
Go on. This is...
Okay.
This is evil science is what it is.
Tam, you're up first.
Pick Cross 3D, man. What can I do?
Oh, God damn it. All right. I said there's no arguing. Can't argue.
Okay, I'm going to do this because if I do this, then it guarantees one that I love. I mean, I love this one. To be clear, I love this one. But if I cut this one, the other 4 that are left, I would be happy with any of them winning.
Okay.
So
right.
I'm cutting, and I'm sorry, Lucy James. Vampire Survivors.
Okay.
You hate to see it.
That's a really good portable game.
I'm going to cut, despite it being a fantastic choice, Into the Breach.
I understand. At this point, I'm like, that might be my number 1 choice. Looking at what we have left here,
it's great.
But I get it. All of these are like right there.
These 3 are amazing now.
These are amazing.
They're all gonna medal here.
Audio listeners, we're left with Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, and Hades.
All right, I think this is gonna be my argument for Aria of Sorrow, because it does fit those criteria so well. Of like, if I play it for a little bit and then I save and quit, I still made progress. Even it's not like a story thing. It's like I could level up a couple times. I get a few souls or whatever. I find a new save room or something, and I'm done. That could be a 5-10 minute session, or it's a fucking Castlevania game. It's a great 2D one. I could play that game for 5 hours and have a blast. Are you
saying that's your pick?
I think I'm leaning towards it. Yeah,
I'll back that. I think that's my pick of those 3 games.
Say it again. I was not paying attention.
I was leaning towards Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. I have very strong feelings about Tactics Advance, but my own logic of like, you know, it's the same as the Fire Emblem thing, where it's like, well, they're longer, so it's like I can't get a full tactics round in 5 minutes. So I think that pushes me more towards Aria of Sorrow.
Are you using AI?
Yeah, I used Google's AI, and I asked it, hey, Google, what is the best portable game of all time? And it said Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Now, it might be doing that because we have it listed at number 1 up there right now currently. Maybe it's like pulling from that. Or maybe it's just trying to tell us something. Or maybe we say fuck AI because I also want to say Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, if that's what you've been saying this whole time.
Should I
Are we all...
Let me ask ChatGPT.
They don't matter. It's just us.
In some ways, they matter more than all of us because it's just what we're all thinking.
Is deep, the best portable game of all time.
God fucking damn it! I just saw someone say Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, I was going to bring that one up too, but I didn't want to because you shat on Link's Awakening. And I didn't want to get in a fight about it.
Link Between Worlds is the only 10 I ever gave at Game Informer.
Link Between Worlds is a perfect video game.
ChatGPT has a number of submissions. Its submissions are Link's Awakening, Pokemon Red or Blue, Stardew Valley, or Hollow Knight.
Stardew's, I don't consider that a portable game. Hollow Knight's not good. So
okay, Dan, if you want to throw all this out and just go with Link Between Worlds, I'm ready to fucking like.
I'll do it right now.
Thelma and Louise.
No.
Let's do it.
No. Didn't
GameSpot get that game of the year, Tam?
I wasn't involved.
I think it was my game of the year.
What's that matter?
Wait, you're saying A Link Between Worlds?
Yeah, and I'm not saying it the way that with the attitude you just said it with. I'm saying A Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if it was
better than Aria of Sorrow.
Better than any video game. It's so good.
Oh, come on, man! It's a good game, but like fundamentally, it is a spin on Link to the Past.
But it plays so much better than anything. Okay. Listen, I'm fine with Aria of Sorrow.
Single playthrough Link Between Worlds, done. Great. was it like 15 hours, something like that? Aria of Sorrow is the game. You keep coming back, find new shit.
I played Link Between Worlds 4 times in a row, once to beat it for review, once to get every heart piece, once in that master mode, and another time. This is all like back to back to back to back, which I've never done. Another time just because I hadn't gotten enough of it yet. Like Aria of Sorrow, I fucking love, but I just played through it that one time.
Chat voted for Link Between Worlds in a poll, and now Link Between Worlds was the only option in that poll, but it did win.
You know, chat is smart. Chat knows chat's important. You know, I think we got to go with chat, the people. You know,
this is unbelievable. You've added a new game into this, and like, it completely invalidates the cutting portion because like now we got to put everything back in and like factor in.
Yeah, there's no rules. It's just right. It's Outback Steakhouse over here.
This is wild. It requires
I did everything right, and they hated me.
Although, hang on, I will throw this out there. Me and Grub obviously feel very strongly about Link Between Worlds.
Yeah.
But this is a 3-person thing. We are deciding who, and like, we all feel good about Aria of Sorrow.
We do.
Exactly.
I don't want to just throw, like, I don't want to just majority rules, me and Grub 2-1. We all
on this
like
list, Aria of Sorrow would be like a very strong number 2 for me right now. So,
Yeah, my personal is like, if it was a personal one, it would be like Link Between Worlds and Picross and WarioWare and everything, but it's not. I would say...
This is the official Giant Bomb pick for best portable game of all time.
And if there was the Giant Bomb emblem on Castlevania Aria of Sorrow's like box art saying the best portable game of all time, I think that looks right to me.
I think that's correct, yeah.
Yep.
I think that is objectively correct.
All right, set it in stone.
Congratulations to Konami all these years later.
The greatest portable game of all time, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow.
Well done.
Also, there's 5 other games that are like almost that good. So.
That game, yeah. So
play those games, everybody. I'm a big fan of those. All right.
Good.
Cool. Hey, thanks for hanging out with Giant Bomb all week this week, everybody. We're off tomorrow. If you're listening to this live, or if you're listening to this on Friday and you're wondering why there's nothing on Giant Bomb, we're off for Veterans Day. We will be back next week. Be sure to listen to Bombcast. Be sure to check on Game S Mornings, Jeff's Bizarre Adventure, whole bunch of great shows that you should be checking out.
Extra Life.
Extra Life. Yes, thank
this
you.
This weekend, Extra Life.
We had a lot. We had the community do Extra Life last weekend. This weekend at 9 a.m. Eastern time, I will begin playing some DDR, and then I'll probably play some other stuff. Maybe Alan Wake 2 or something. I'll catch up on some more of that. And then at 3 p.m., the West Coast crew is going to be taking over. Tam, you guys you're part of that, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to convince Jan into doing a Sekiro race with me.
Ooh, okay, that would be fun.
I haven't played Sekiro in a real long time, but it might be tricky. So what I might do is like get him to play get him to play on the stream, and I'll play on a Steam Deck. And then once the time is up, we reveal how far we've got.
Oh, I like that.
That's fun. That's fun. I like that.
All right, and so that they'll be going 3 p.m. on Saturday. If I said tomorrow, Saturday, and then the weekend after that, the weekend after this one, Minneapolis, Minnesota, the crew's coming together at Dan Reichert's for an in-person, middle of the country Extra Life. Dan, you getting things set up?
It is set. I've been spending the last few weeks getting everything set up, and I think I am in a good spot. I have a lot of fucking games. I have a lot of systems that have 4 controllers, so this is going to be a real local multiplayer. There's some party games involved, and not just the obvious, Mario parties and stuff. I've plumbed the depths, and we got Dreamcast, 64, original Xbox, Wii, all with 4 controllers, good to go. Maybe we'll make RoboMids play Steel Battalion or something.
Who's going to be there?
Grub, Mike Minotti, the Windbag, and some guests from the area, some buddies I got.
Okay, so it's an extra midlife crisis is what it's called.
Yes.
Yes,
right.
100%. Yes.
I can't wait to meet Jesse Ventura finally. All right,
fun. Oh, Jesse, if you're watching, please come by. I've got weed. I'll give you weed, Jesse.
Jesse, we are all fans of the movie Abraxas.
Yeah.
Please.
You don't live that far from me, Jesse. If anyone knows Jesse Ventura, invite him to Extra Life for me.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. That was the Bombcast Revengeance. Dan, Tam, thanks for hanging out. Jeff Backlar, thank you for your work as well. Till next time, everybody, take care of yourself. Have a good one, and goodbye.
That was very fun.